and I'm sure that you're aware about Black Lives Matter, and this time from the Huffington Post. It's a blog. Oh, okay, from Algernon Austin. Nice name, Mr. Double A. So, it's talking about Ray Lewis's rant against black crime. So, I'll include Ray Lewis's video in the description below, but basically Ray Lewis was a really good player in the NFL. He's retired just recently a few years ago, and he's black, and he was, in his video, it's about 9 minutes long, he just feels really bad that, you know, in the black community, there's just so many people getting murdered, and he focuses on black crime. So, let's take a look at the article. It talks about how Ray Lewis posted a video on his Facebook, and Algernon commends Lewis for shining a light on the issue. Regrettably, in his important message, he used some unfortunate ideas and missed the opportunity to place the issue of violent crime in its proper perspective. Okay, what is the proper perspective? So remember, in the video, he says that black people are killing black people predominantly much more than, say, white people are killing black people. It was framed using the black-on-black crime concept. This idea is counterproductive and unjustly stigmatizes black America. So, Algernon doesn't talk about any reasons why it stigmatizes black America. He does give some facts, but let's take a look here. People of the same racial or ethnic group kill each other more often than not. In Asia, Asian people are primarily killed by other Asian. Latin American countries, Latinos kill other Latinos. In Europe, whites kill whites. This is completely true. But he did not point out the fact that, like, for example, in Asian countries, that 95% of the people in Asian countries are from that country. He also didn't point out that in South America, that most people in South America are from South America. They take up a majority of the population, and they commit a majority of the crimes against the majority of the people there. So this is not an apples-to-apples comparison. Okay, so let's take a look. This is from Wikipedia. And basically, African Americans take up about 15% of the population. Whites take up in between, or about 70%. So African Americans are 1/5 of the population. So how does that disprove, how does it stigmatize black America? It's either true or untrue. It's not about stigmatization. Now, the sad fact of the human condition is that people commit violence against people with whom they regularly interact. Yes, it's true. I mean, if you wherever you hang around, then if there's going to be a crime going to be committed, it's going to be in that place by people that are similar to you. That's correct. So, if you're a drug dealer, you're going to hang around other people who are affiliated with drugs. So, this is something you can choose to do or not to do. So, if black-on-black crime is happening at an extremely high rate, then that means that black people are committing crimes and doing things they shouldn't be doing. At the same time, if Asians are hanging around Asians and there's a high Asian crime rate, that means that they shouldn't be hanging around those people, right? I mean, if you hang around nuns all day, you're not going to, there's no gun crimes in church, right? There might be a little bit of touchy-feely sort of stuff if you're going to the Catholic Church. Okay, but the point is that, yes, you're completely right, that people do hang around similar people, and if there are acts of crime, then it's going to be based around those people. So I don't see how this disproves Ray Lewis's idea that black-on-black crime is a problem. In the United States, because we're still very segregated, I'm not even sure what this means. Does this mean, like, you live in separate houses, like you don't live in a commune with, like, 50 other guys and share the washroom? This dynamic means that most whites are killed by other whites and most blacks are killed by other blacks. Okay, fine. That's a given, fine. There's nothing surprising or unusual about racial violence, Okay, fine. We discussed black-on-black crime, but we never use a similar framework when a white person kills a white person or a Latino person kills a Latino person or an Asian kills an Asian person. Okay, fine. We don't talk about that. It misidentifies the problem. What? How does it misidentify the problem? The problem is not that the violence is interracial. The problem is that the rate of violence is high. The black homicide victimization rate is 6 times the white rate. Did you just listen to yourself? We talk about how crimes based on interracial status is applicable. because you hang around those people. Now, he likes to make it, oh, it's broader. It has to do with just the fact that black people are randomly getting killed 6 times the rate of white people for no reason. Basically, this is what person. He doesn't know. He says Ray Lewis incorrectly suggests that blacks have to choose either to be concerned about black homicide victims or to be concerned about the unjust treatment of the police. Well, I don't think that's what he's saying. It's not an either solution. It's true. Both are important. But the reality is that since most of the crime and most of the fatalities involving black people are caused by other black people, then it's going to have to come from the black community in general to stifle that. You can't say it's the police's fault, because to say it's the police's fault means that you have no ownership in what's going on, or virtually no ownership. It's institutional racism. It's all the white people. It's that slave hangover from like 200 years ago. This is extremely disrespectful to black people, because what you're doing is you're infantilizing black people and saying that they're not smart enough or mature enough to be responsible for their own actions. This is extremely disrespectful, and it would be actually racist, because if the roles were reversed, if Asians had a large crime rate against other Asians, and they committed crime rates 5 times the national median, and we say, they don't know what they're doing, the police have to step up, Asian lives matter and all this other hoopla. At the end of the day, they're responsible for their own actions. They don't have to hang around dangerous people. They just don't. That's something that they choose. Now, either it might be from poor upbringings, single fatherhood households, welfare. There's a whole plethora of reasons why that may occur. But the fact is, at the end of the day, they still choose that. And it's even more true if you take a look at the FBI's murder rates in the U.S. So if you look here, this is the race of the offender and race of victim. So we have 3,005 white people that were murdered. That's a lot. That's not a small amount. And as Algernon pointed out, a mass majority, about 85%, were committed by other white people. Let's take a look at the black or African American. Almost as high, about 500 less. But look at this percentage caused by other black people. This is higher than 90%. So over 90% of the black homicides are caused by other black people. Now remember, these numbers are fairly close, but they only take up 14.6% of the population, while whites take up about 70% of the population. So whites are at about 5 times the amount of people, and yet the murder rates between whites and black people are very close. So yes, it is a black on black problem. It is not a Ray Lewis problem misidentifying. It is a black on black problem. And until the black community and all the black races in the black community step up and say, look, we got to take responsibility for our own actions, then this tragedy will just keep occurring and occurring and occurring. And it doesn't matter how often you're going to complain that the police are racist and it's all institutional racism, which is all bogus, by the way. Barack Obama is black and he's a Muslim and he's the president. How could there be institutional racism? Okay? When you go to Japan, okay, the prime minister is not a German. It's not a guy from Mozambique. It's not a guy from Brazil. It's a Japanese guy. Okay, maybe you could say there's racism. I don't think there is in Japan in the same sense. But in the United States of freaking America, the president is black and a Muslim. There is no... to say there's institutional racism is just utterly ridiculous. So please check out the video by Ray Lewis. I don't follow football much, but I really applaud him for pointing out the fact that black on black crime is a major problem. And shame on you, Algernon Austin. Just shame on you. You have an awesome name, but you don't have an awesome way of thinking.